For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. A viral video has been making its rounds all over social media where a woman is sharing her experience after encountering a man who hit her in the face with a brick for not giving out her phone number. The original video from Ro by Shay was shared online by The Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and various others online tabloids. The caption from The Shade Room reads, "Woman gets hospitalized after being hit in the face with a brick by a man after she refuses to give her number." The incident occurred in Houston, Texas, and she says she was surrounded by men who did absolutely nothing. She says the man got in the car and left the scene after assaulting her and is afraid he will never get caught. Now, the first of several videos took place moments after the incident where Ro called out all of the black men that saw the attack and didn't do anything about it. Ro was shocked at the amount of bystanders that didn't intervene or retaliate in her defense.
Yo, this man just hit me in my face with a brick and all these black men just watch and they don't give a This man hit me, grabbed a rock and it hit me in my face because I would have given him my number. And all y'all just fucking watch. Y'all see that shit? Y'all see that shit? What y'all do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man and do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face. Man, fuck all y'all niggas.
The next video shows Ro in the hospital with her injuries clearly visible. She would go into detail about how disappointed she was.
What have I ever done to anybody in my life to deserve this? I never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, "What you gonna do?" And I told all these men, like, yo, why this man got a brick on my face? He's holding a brick. And all these niggas is watching. And nobody does nothing. And he hits me in my face and then they all just watch. And they let that nigga get in a car. How is this okay? This is what y'all doing to women?
In the final video updating everyone, Ro would express gratitude for the support she's received thus far, but also took the time to call on her followers to put the face of the man who hit her out there. She would ask to center and make him the focal point of this discussion instead of her. After thanking those who were on her side, Ro would end the video by calling her criticizers unsympathetic, lacking compassion, and evil. Her caption read, "My anxiety is on 10. I'll be on Do Not Disturb for a while."
You don't even know. I really, really do appreciate the support. You know what I mean? I see so many women coming to help me. I appreciate it. I'm in gratitude, but I don't appreciate being centered and talked about. There's a lot of bullying. There's a lot of fucking bullshit, and y'all just kill me because I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean? There was nothing I could have done to anticipate something like that to happen. There's like zero that I could have done. If y'all want to talk about this conversation, go ahead, because I'm the one that brought it online, but center him. Put his face out there. Put his face out there. Y'all talk about him because he's the one who made a choice. People know him because security told me that, you know, he used to work somewhere at some restaurant. So we will find him. And when I do, I need y'all to center him because he also jumped in a car with a bunch of black women. You know what I mean? He was trying to jump in a car with a dude, but we wouldn't let the car leave. So he jumped out of that car and ran into another car. And I couldn't get the license plate number. Y'all know who he is. Put him out there, center his face, and then talk about it because he's the one who got to make a choice. I didn't get to fucking make a choice. He did. So center his fucking goddamn face because this is some fucking bullshit. Like, y'all are so unempathetic. Y'all lack compassion. I don't know how y'all can justify something like that. I don't give a fuck. Thank you for the people who have been very supportive, but center his face. Talk about him. He's the one who made a goddamn choice. Put his face up in the front. Thank you.
Since the video was released, online users have been split on this issue, with some even discrediting Ro by bringing up her past videos to justify her being hit. There have been a few more videos circulating that show Ro lightly slapping some white men across the face with the caption, "Indeed, we're all God's children, but we're his favorite. This is activism and consensual, and I do not promote actual violence." Users would still take the time to respond, with one user saying, "I initially said no one deserves to be assaulted, but upon discovering new information, I take that bit back, even if her story is true. She is insufferable, man-hating, excuse of a human being, and so I'm making an exception in this case. This is what we have seen about her. Now imagine the ones we haven't seen. Another video shows the woman twerking, insinuating that this was an excuse for what happened. Look at how Brick Girl acts around white people. On the other side of the argument, a social media user representing some women's thoughts would say, "This is why I'll always give my number out in public, regardless if I have a man or not, because you never know how a man will react when he gets rejected. This is sad and she didn't deserve this at all. It's scary out here. Women should not have to do this to protect ourselves." Now, Comedy Hype's own Yamanika Saunders would respond to the story via the Shade Room's Instagram post saying, "Black women, we are on our own. They will not help or protect you. Y'all have to give up the fantasy of black men protecting y'all. They hate us too. We have to protect ourselves." Joining me, I have our very own borderline analyst, Danielle Miller. But first, let's hear from a witness from the actual incident.
I was one of the guys who was there that did not help her when she was getting hit with the brick, right? I feel like people need to know the whole story before they start commenting and say things they don't understand or they don't know. You guys don't even remember who you guys are trying to defend, who you guys are trying to speak up for. This is the same woman that was going around smacking white people in the streets. She's not innocent. She was actually taunting the guy to hit her. Why would I go defend somebody that's actually looking for trouble? This woman, she is literally a troublemaker. Everybody that knows her in our community knows she's a troublemaker. I'm not going to risk my life over somebody that's actually out there looking for trouble. If you go on social media, online, you're going to see some of her antic videos, taunting people, looking for a reaction. Well, she got what she's been looking for, and you guys are giving her the attention that she was actually seeking for. I don't regret not standing up for her. If you look at some of the videos, I was there. I don't regret nothing whatsoever. I don't regret standing up for her. I'm not saying she deserved it. I'm not saying that any men have a right to hit a woman, especially with a brick. Nobody deserves that. By the end of the day, there's more to the story. She's not as innocent as she's trying to portray herself to be. She wants attention. She's an attention-seeker woman. She's trying to go viral, and you guys have given her what she wanted. Yes, she did get hit by a brick. Yes, I saw it. Yes, I was standing by doing nothing. And if that shit happened again in the same circumstances, I will watch. Because she's not as innocent as she portrays herself to be. She was taunting the guy. She was calling him all type of names. She was degrading him to a point where he resulted in picking up a brick and hitting him. I don't condone that type of behavior, but once again, she's not as innocent as she portrays herself to be. I remember a while back, she's posting videos going around in public, literally smacking old white people in the face. For what? And now you get hit by a brick, and now you want to cry wolf? And I don't care. You wanted trouble, you got trouble. That's why I'll still buy and watch. So oh man, that whole situation got me upset.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for joining me on this. Let's dive right into this. What's your reaction up to this point? You know, there have been a couple things come out. We've heard from the victim herself. Now we're hearing from an actual bystander. What's your reaction up until this point?
I couldn't watch the video because when I saw what was going on with the side of her face, it's scary. It's honestly scary because it's like, it could have been any one of us. Let's be honest. Me, sometimes when I'm being catcalled, I don't answer because my mother always taught me, like, if they don't call your name, they ain't talking to you. So I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to answer. So literally, it's you refusing somebody's number, allegedly, and they pick up a deadly weapon and hit you with it on the side of your face. She could have died. She legit could have died. And I don't know, in the Bahamas, and this is not being boastful or anything. We get catcalled a lot here. Our men love women. They love them. But I've never heard about a physical altercation with a man because the woman refused the number. I've heard men say something back like, oh, you think you better than somebody that's on next thing? But I've never heard about one of our men picking up an object and doing that. So for me, like traveling to the United States, it's like, damn, if somebody asks me for my number, I got to give it to them because I'm afraid because some of y'all is be trigger happy too, because there's also been reports about women being shot with their boyfriend because they refuse to give a number. So it's scary as hell. It's scary.
Absolutely, yeah. It reminds me of the Michael Davis situation, the college basketball player. Same thing, got turned down and reached out to his friend for a gun just to get a young lady killed. So, it's very unfortunate and it is very much scary. Let me ask you, do you think, because now we're hearing from an actual bystander, somebody who was very vocal and like, hey, if it happened again, I still wouldn't do anything. I would sit back and watch, even though he kept contradicting, saying how he doesn't condone violence, but he would sit back and watch. Do you think those men that didn't do anything, do you think they were wrong for sitting there and not coming to the defense of this young lady?
Absolutely. I remember Idris Elba told a story about there was a domestic fight between a boyfriend and girlfriend, a husband, I can't remember, but it was domestic that happened that he witnessed. And it was just him one. And he went to stop it. And the guy pulled out a gun on him and the girl stayed. So in those instances, I understand if it's one-on-one. But in the video, she said it's about 10 dudes. All y'all stand there and watch that. Ain't none of y'all bothered to stop old boy. Ain't none of y'all bothered to like, hey, don't do that. She's a female. None of y'all did anything, like nothing. So that also speaks to either y'all were scared to get involved, which, it is what it is. But something has to click in your head to say, hold on, wait, no, bro, don't do that. But nobody bothered to do anything. They just let it happen. And then old boy is going to say, well, she's always troublesome. Nothing justifies anybody hitting you with a deadly weapon. Nothing justifies that. Even murderers have their day in court. Like, come on, bro.
It's sickening. It's sickening and it's sad too. Because and he also talks about like, oh, well, people in the neighborhood. So obviously y'all are aware who this young man is, and none of you thought to, hey man, just chill out, don't worry about her. Or also too, if the guy knew that she's a quote unquote troublemaker, why approach her? Why, come and say anything to her? If quote unquote she is this troublemaker, but regardless of anything, as you mentioned, nothing warrants for you to pick up a deadly weapon as a man or anyone to pick up a deadly weapon and hurt someone like that. And also too, at the end, no one came to her aid when she was recording. They didn't come to like console her, like, hey, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody stepped up to the plate. So it is very, very unfortunate and sad and scary. So let me ask you, and I know you said you get catcalled in the Bahamas. I know you've come here a few times. Have you ever had a guy spaz on you, maybe not in Bahamas or just traveling anywhere? And what was your response to it if you have?
I never had a guy spaz on me. I did have a guy one time where he did get my number. And like he called me like 10 times in an hour. And I was like, oh hell no. And I blocked him and I made sure, like I told the men who I know, I was like, look, this fella XYZ, because so they can be aware, because now you calling me 10 times, I'm really concerned about my safety. That's why it's scary, like trying to even get into an innocent conversation with a lot of people sometimes. And in terms of me traveling, thank you God, I've never gotten catcalled in the United States. But the way the jawlers carry on, I'm sorry, I might have to give somebody I gotta have to give you my number just for my safety. And then when you call me, don't answer and block you. I shouldn't have said it on camera, but literally it's the truth. Like, I'm just gonna give you, see the number and for my safety. So yeah. It's scary. It's scary.
It is, and it's even for me. I mean, I've definitely witnessed it, and I think we talked about it on the show before. Like not the grocery store. The gas station for me is one of the scariest places to go to, because when I feel like you're in a very vulnerable spot, right? Because you're pumping gas, you're required to stay there, and I'm always paying attention to my surroundings. I've definitely been at a gas station and told a young man like, hey, I'm good. I have a boyfriend, and he's still like, I don't care. Your man not here, and like, started cursing me out. Of course, started calling me names and things like that. Luckily for me, here in Georgia, we're able to carry, but I know everywhere you aren't able to do that. So for me, I'm always in position to protect myself, especially while I'm here in Georgia. But it's very scary to know, like, okay, one, just me saying no in a very polite way, because I always try to remain polite. I try not to be nasty, all these steps, but it still doesn't work. It's like, you can be as nice and as sweet as you want to be, and you will still get cursed out, possibly assaulted, possibly killed. And it's just a very scary place. So To me, I don't think I don't know the advice to give young men. I'm going to be very honest. Like, I wish we had a man, especially somebody that's involved with our youth within the Black community. I don't know what advice to give to these men that are obviously hurt, that obviously do not know how to control themselves, obviously do not know how to take rejection. But I do think it's important, especially for you and I being here, to give some advice for women. You mentioned a couple tips, but I want to just lay it out in front of them. What do you think is the protocol? What do you think is what is the thing that we should do and be mindful of in these situations? Because unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take care of the problem right away. But what are some tips you think, for women to take to defend themselves in these situations?
I almost cussed. Like, I legit almost said there is no mother effing protocols for this. Like, honestly, if and I'm talking broken here because the video keeps replaying in my mind. And I see people trying to justify. I don't care if she was a troublemaker. I don't care. The woman said no to giving you her number. It's the same thing. It's no. No is no. You pick up a weapon and you hit her with it, despite what led up to the incident. The base of the matter is still here. Allegedly, she said no to giving you the number. As a woman, I have the right, as a human being, I have the right to say no. There is no protocol. Raise your sons better. Raise them to take rejection. Raise them to understand that a no from a woman not giving you play is not an ego hurt, but what it is just a woman saying no, no matter how she says it. If she says it in a vile way, woo, dodge the bullet. I don't need that type of woman in my life. Like, come on. Like, no is no. No is no. As a woman, I should be able to step outside and I should be able to have a good time. And if you ask me for my number, if you ask me to have a conversation with you, I should be able to walk away because it's a situation I do not want to be engaged in. And it's also scary as well because you have some situations whereas women are with their significant other. Somebody told me one time, when you tell these fellas you have a boyfriend, they're even more intrigued. So it's a situation when you are with your significant other and this fella keeps pressing up on you. And now you put another person in jeopardy as well because this man now has to defend your honor. These guys need to learn conflict resolution. They honestly need to learn how to control their emotions. There is a deeper rooted issue here, which I don't want to talk about right now because it could be right place, wrong pew, but there is a deeper rooted issue that is going on. And our men have some insecurities, some of them that they really need to face and get over, as well as some of our women, because I've seen some of our women trying to justify this online. And as a female, nobody should be able, especially a man, to pick up any object or even his fist to hit you because that man's strength is way greater than any woman he can ever come across. That's my thought. Like, it's all sickening. It's sickening. No, it's sickening. I'm sorry.
It definitely is. I got chills even preparing for the show. It was like, what the heck do I say? How do we even move this conversation forward? Because it's very unfortunate that we even have to have the conversation. But let me ask, because you brought up a point, and I mentioned it earlier too, people justifying, oh, hey, well, going back and looking at her videos, she's very outspoken. I've seen her twerking. They brought up these videos of her lightly slapping white men, which I do want to make sure we're very clear. According to screenshots that were taken of the caption, this was consensual. It was like a skit. It was not real. And you can also tell it was not a real slap. It was a very subtle thing. But regardless, people are using that to try to justify it. Why do you think we're seeing that? Why do you think people go back to dig up, oh, well, yeah, well, she got hit, but look at this video and look what she did there. Why do you think we're seeing that in this situation?
I hate to say this, but I remember watching the Barbie movie. I'll save my comments on that. I remember watching the Barbie movie, and one of the most profound things that was said during the movie was, one thing that we can all agree on is the fact that everybody hates women. In this instance, it's legit one of those things. We want to turn the victim into the assaulter. That's not the case. The base of this whole conversation is the woman said no, which was her right. It doesn't matter what kind of character she has. She said no to something as simple as, I don't want to give you my number, allegedly. Now, if she had attacked this man, if she had antagonized this man, maybe this would have been a different conversation. But for right now, what is presented to us is, allegedly she said no to giving this man the number. A verbal communication, no. You can't justify somebody hitting, like, you, the way that people are trying to justify it in itself is sickening, and it has me raising. I'm taking an account to everybody who's trying to justify it. You could tell me the events that may have led up to it. Maybe she was loud, maybe she was vile, maybe she was throwing things at him. You could tell me the events that led up to it, but you can't justify that to me. So for everybody that's trying to justify it, then my eyebrows raise to you, and I'm really trying to figure out, okay, what is your mindset towards women? What is your mindset towards humanity in general? I need to stay clear from you because you cannot justify that. You can't.
Absolutely. And even if it does come out that she was antagonizing him verbally, that man could easily walk away. He was not, held there. He was not forced to stay there. The same way he walked there is the same way he could walk away. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see more and more footage. I think right now her TikTok is deactivated, but as she did mention, right now her anxiety is on 10. She's going to disconnect and be on Do Not Disturb for a while. So I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the reasons we've seen it taken down, and also just because it is a lot of violence there. So we'll see more of this unfold. Unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. But Danielle, thank you so much for chiming in on this topic. I know typically I ask you what you have going on, but I don't even know if it's appropriate after this conversation because it's just very unfortunate. So, I definitely, I'll give people your social media, how to follow you, because I do want people to keep up with you. Danielle.
You can follow me on Instagram at DEEA Miller. You can follow me on Facebook, Danielle, DENIELLE. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Danielle, DENIELLE. I don't tweet much, but I'm there on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, DEEA Miller.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much, Danielle, for joining me on this topic. Very much appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, as I mentioned with Danielle, where do I start? And again, thank you, Danielle, for even joining me on this conversation. I'm a firm believer in hurt people, but man, when is enough enough? Look, there are just some lessons and bits of wisdom that only a man can impart to another man. So I'm going to lean on the men in our communities to step up. Address and advise these young men on how to handle rejection, control their emotions, and most of all, keep their hands and other objects to themselves. Because this is not the first case, and unfortunately, it won't be the last. But to my women, I am so sorry. I'm sorry that we live in a world where in situations like these, we have to focus on how to protect ourselves as opposed to getting to the actual root of the issue. I'm sorry that people will find ways to make you the villain, even when it's obvious you're the victim of senseless and horrific acts such as this. And to this young lady, and the many other names that didn't go viral or that didn't have the opportunity to live to tell their story, I am so sorry. And listen, I'm also aware that my sorries won't and don't put us in any better situation, so I'll end with this. Women, please, take self-defense classes. I understand not everyone is emotionally or lawfully able to carry weapons, so get pepper spray, a taser, a sharp object, a baton, anything that you can use to defend yourself. And as crazy as this may sound, never be afraid to run. I learned that myself in self-defense class. So many times we're quick to defend ourselves, but sometimes we just need to run away as fast as we can. I would much rather see you tell a story about an attempted assault than seeing your name in a hashtag. And also, to everyone that's in the comments justifying this, I have a couple questions for you. What's the difference in what we see white media do when they dig up past incidents about our black men and black women to justify being victims of police brutality, when in reality they are completely unrelated? Sandra Bland, George Floyd, do those names ring a bell? And if we're gonna hold them accountable, then come on, man, we gotta hold ourselves accountable as well. And really take a step back and ask yourself, how would you respond if this was your mother, your daughter, your sister, niece, aunt, grandmother, heck, even you getting hit by a brick? And let me help you reference. This is a brick. The same brick that's used to build houses, a construction material. The same brick that was used to build the wall that's behind me that's been here for 50 years, well over 50 years. Regardless of anything, this is not okay. Nothing justifies being hit by a brick. And it's sad that I even have to say this, but don't let this internet disconnect you so much from the actual world that you forget how to be a good human and just be kind. Bricks are used for building, not for hitting. But hey, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think about the criticism surrounding this unfortunate incident? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.